So, here's what you do. We're going to talk about the 10 things you need to do to win. And some of these will be pretty quick, and there's one of them that I want you to really pay attention to, but here's the first one. Here it is. You don't get hung up on logos and slogans. They are not brands. Okay? They are just marketing messages used to support and reinforce your brand. Here's the problem with branding, is logos make up about 2% of brand, but they get 98% of the attention. And so, I got a question for you. Do you buy Reeboks over Nike because you just can't stand that Nike swoosh? Would you buy a Chevrolet over Ford because you like their logo better? Do you drink Pepsi over Coke because you like blue better than red? See what I mean? At the end of the day, a logo means hardly anything. So I saw the Bracebridge. You know, I'm not really fond of it because it's about a physical structure rather than a feeling. But on the other hand, it's not a big deal. I don't think it's ugly at all. I think it's a nice, attractive logo. And at the end of the day, is anybody going to come here? If you change your logo, do you think somebody will say, wow, we should go to Bracebridge now. They have a new logo. See, so it doesn't really matter. So don't get hung up on it. And so, by the way, I want to know, and while we're talking about taglines, I want to know if you'd go to any of these places. I picked on American communities. Beaver, Oklahoma is the cow chip capital. What's the picture that comes to mind? How about Springdale, Arkansas? It's not that bad. Seriously, that's what they're using. Do it, and we've been here since. How about Buzzards Bay, Massachusetts? We've been secret. We gotta live somewhere. I thought that should have been a New Jersey town. How about Athol, Massachusetts? Okay. You're an Athol. Quit snickering. I can never say it without snickering. Then there's Climax, Minnesota. That's not the slogan, that's the town. Are you ready? More than just a feeling. Then there's Hooker, Oklahoma. It's a location, not a vocation. And finally there's Keister, Minnesota. How do you like this one for community pride? The hind end of Minnesota. Then there's Metter, Georgia. Everything's better and better. Go ahead and say it. Aww. And then there's the most overused slogan in the world. We found more than 3,500 communities in the U.S. and Canada that use these very, very words. A great place to live, work, and play. Isn't that special? And look at this. A great place to live. Oh, we had to learn, work, and play. How does that set you apart from anybody else, anywhere else? That's the problem. It's not that you did anything wrong, it's just that you're doing what everybody else is doing. You know, then there's Little Gas, Kansas. Home of the world's largest gas can. Get it? That's their water tower there. It's a town of just 2,500. It's on a 2-lane highway. They're desperately trying to get people to stop there. So they rented a billboard. They put these words on it, big letters. Don't pass gas. Stop and enjoy it. Your slogan is simply an exclamation point on your key marketing message. So there you go. Number 2, you must jettison the generic. Brands are specific. So I'm going to read you something here. I'll put it up here on the screen. Discover the wide open spaces, gracious people, and picturesque landscapes that characterizes Gilmore, Ontario. How many of you have been to Gilmore? Does anybody even know where it is? Good, I'm glad. Because they're about the same drive from Toronto as you. Okay? So now, each season holds a promise of a new adventure and an incredible memory. Come join us in Gilmore and discover the scenic and recreational opportunities that await you. Having read that, how many of you will now make a special trip to Gilmore? It's a couple hours away. You're a mean bunch. Nobody raised their hands at all. Is there anything there that you can't get right here? by the way, that wasn't even written for Gilmore. That was written for Nelson, British Columbia. Here's the point. If I can take your brochures and take out the name Bracebridge and put any other town in there, it still rings true, you just lost a sale. So let me read you another one. This one's a little bit longer. Nestled in the central core of Huntsville, discover a one-of-a-kind experience. Whether you're a first-time visitor or local resident, you will always find what you need and more. A stroll along our downtown streets will reveal a delightful diversity of shopping, dining, and service opportunities that are awaiting your discovery. Come enjoy our unique shops and services, as well as our incredible array of restaurants, pubs, and cafes. It's time you discovered why Huntsville is a great place to shop and play. Now, does that make you want to go to Huntsville from Bracebridge? And by the way, that's Bracebridge's downtown. All I did is take out the word Bracebridge and put Huntsville in there. That's the problem. I could use that for Barrie. I could use it for almost any town, anywhere. That's the challenge. See what I mean? And so, and once again, they're not mistakes, these are lessons. So I'm not criticizing anybody. This is just the change we have now. Everybody's at our fingertips in second. These ingredients have changed. So those generic messages no longer mean anything. That did not give me one single reason to come downtown Bracebridge, because it's just like every downtown. And by the way, the most overused word in tourism is unique. It is so overused it's come to mean just like everyone else. And that's the challenge. So take a look at this ad. What do you think? Huntsville, excitement is just around the corner. Wide variety of historic downtown shops, eclectic assortment of arts and cultural events, multitude of family, ethnic, and fine dining experiences, plus countless attractions that will excite and engage. Have you seen that ad before? Does it look vaguely familiar? Actually, I stole your ad to put Huntsville's name on it. See what I mean? And you'll wonder why 97% of our advertising is ineffective. Now you know. That's the problem. And so, it must be obvious what you have is different. So look at all your photographs. If all these photographs I could do somewhere else, then change them to something that's specific to you. You know, if this was easy, everybody would be doing it. But that's the world we've come to now, where the web is at our fingertips. You know, in the old days, we went where our parents went, we went where our grandparents went, we went to visit friends and family. These days, we go find whatever caters to us, horseback riding, you name it, and then a general location. We can go anywhere now, because literally the world's at our fingertips in seconds. And so, you know, if you did photos like this, what do you have that I can't get somewhere else? And that's what you have to always come back to. Promote the primary or that one thing that sets you apart. Don't let the politics get in the way. You know, we're working in British Columbia in what they call the Kootenay Rockies. We're working in 7 towns there. Nelson, British Columbia, Castlegar, Nakusp, maybe you've heard of some of these towns. And they were all things to all people and everything, but they had one thing that people couldn't get close to home: hot springs. 7 hot springs in 6 towns. People in Vancouver, people in Calgary, people, they couldn't get those closer to home. They went to British Columbia, because that they couldn't get home. And by the way, how many hours can you sit in hot springs before you turn into a prune? About 20 minutes. They have to cool the water down to 40 degrees centigrade. You know, and so that set them apart. They hung their hat on it, their tourism went up. See what I mean? So what is that one thing in Bracebridge? And we're talking about that the lure is that one thing that sets you apart. It doesn't mean that's all you have, but it's the one thing that puts you on the map. Then there are diversions, or what we call complementary activities. What else can we do while we're there? You know? And the #1 diversionary activity in the world is shopping, dining, and entertainment in a pedestrian-friendly setting. Remember what I said about being joined at the hip with downtown? Then there's amenities. There it is: parking, restrooms, visitor information, all of that kind of stuff. And then there's the ambience. There's your historic downtown's landscaping. Have you ever gone anywhere because it was a historic downtown? No, that's all the window dressing. And then there's the icon, that photo opportunity that says I was really there. And so, look at the average visitor. The average visitor is active 14 hours a day, yet they spend 4 to 6 hours with the primary lure. Only 4 to 6. How many hours can we kayak out there? Or play golf? It takes me more than 6 hours to do golf. But, you know, but that's what we do. And then we spend 8 to 10 hours with diversionary activities. So you know what? If we call a local museum or an activity a secondary or diversionary or complementary activity, somebody's going to get ticked off, aren't they? Well, I think I'm a primary draw. And that's what happens. 80% of non-lodging visitor spending takes place with complementary activities. 8 out of $10. Because, you know, when we're out fishing, when we're out ice fishing, when we're out snowmobiling, when we're out kayaking out on your lakes, we're not spending any money. We spend the money when we're done. And this week, when we're done, your downtown was closed. 6:01, boop, shoot a cannon off right down Manitoba. Good luck hitting something. Seriously. So, always promote the primary lure, your anchor tenant. And just remember that the anchor tenants cannot survive without those complementary activities. So let's take a look at this little video from Butte, Montana.
If you wanted a 2-week vacation package in Butte, you know, one stop on your tour would be to see the Berkeley Pit.
The Berkeley Pit. This 39 billion gallon body of toxic water is now a tourist attraction. That's right. The city has taken lemons and turned them into something that if you drank could kill you. Wow. State Representative John Sesso hopes the 18,000 people who have visited this cesspool of mining waste are just the beginning.
If it's the Berkeley Pit that draws them, hey, our job is to keep them here and take advantage of the tourist and the tourist dollar for all the other things that we have to offer. Such as what? Oh, man.
Anyway, great place to bring the kids.
I got no kids, sorry.
If you have kids, they'll be sure to tolerate it. But some locals think the pit's not all it's cracked up to be. Locals like Fred Staley.
That's correct. I don't think it is. We have the largest contaminated body of water in the whole United States sitting right in the middle of our town.
Correct me if I'm wrong. More toxic waste, more tourists, more money.
The Berkeley Pit's not an amusement park. The Berkeley Pit is not our Dollywood.
Sure, not yet. But while Dollywood has the Rampage ride and Dolly's Rockin' Roadway, the soon-to-open Toxyland will wow you with the exciting Pestislide. Or hop on the tram at Contamination Station and head for No Tomorrow World. It's a day that will possibly alter your genetic structure. While the pit remains divisive, at least everyone can find a reason to take pride in their town.
It's a funky town. It's very funky. If it wasn't for Butte, Montana, this nation would not be the great nation that it is.
I know, I am trying to think of one for you.
Yeah, that's how important those complementary activities are. Then number one is shopping and dining, entertainment, local historic sites, you know, local history museums, you know, hiking, walking tours. These are all things we'll do once we're there, and typically they're not things we will drive the 2 hours just to do. And so that's what you have to realize. So at the end of the day, you must jettison the generic. So look at your taglines, look at your logos, look at your brochures and your websites, read your introductory text, and if it can fit anyone, then toss it and start over. That's what I got. You can feel her pain, can't you? You know,